Yo, oh, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Monday, February 3rd, 2025. I've got a lot of packages today, and I think today is a day you should get your bingo cards ready because I didn't have time. I'm running a little bit late today, and I did not have time to go through and double check what is under embargo or not. So if it doesn't have some sort of warning inside the box, and I don't know if it's an embargo or not, I might accidentally show it to you guys. And me breaking embargo is definitely one of the 2025 Kafuzi Run Club running bingo squares. So get your bingo cards ready. And we'll see what we got. Here, we got 4 different boxes. I don't know what any of them are. I don't remember if I bought any of these. I don't know. We'll see together. But before we get to that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a good running weather day. It is foggy and wet here, but that means it's warm and it's been really nice, which is a nice change of pace from what it's been like here. But I can't complain too much because I just got back from Miami, ran the 5K down there, went down there for a very quick trip. It is under embargo kind of, so I'll answer what questions I can for you guys if you have any. But I've been in Miami. It was hot, it was humid, and I was a little bit congested the entire time. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But the humidity was a bear. That was hard. I'm not used to running in humidity right now. So that was fun. We could talk about that. And then for everyone else watching this later but not live, this is the #1 running live stream on the internet, I think. I don't know. There's a couple of other running live streams. So I don't want to say we're the #1. And we're not the only #1. I don't know if we're the #1 that opens packages. But we're the #1 running live stream with a year-long game of bingo going on. So I think we could say that. Welcome. You're in the right spot. All right, let's see who we got here in the chat. Stephen C. says it's good running weather today. A little colder than it looked, though. You know, it was a little colder than it looked for me, too. I looked at the temperature, and the temperature said 41 degrees, light winds. So I thought it'd be great. But I ran in this long. I haven't changed yet. I'm going to go run again later. I didn't get a lot of time to run in. I had some meetings this morning. But I put in like a couple miles with just this long sleeve and some thin gloves. And I was a little chilly until I only ran like 2 miles and change. So it took a good mile and a half to warm up. But I also feel like that's kind of the right amount of clothes to have on. It should take about a mile and a half to warm up. But the first mile and a half wasn't great. Mark says, has anyone else been getting an ad right as the live stream begins? Luckily I can skip it 4 seconds in, but it's strained. Okay, so I've been trying to monetize the live streams, but I always forget to do it. And so most people have already watched it before I remember to turn ads on it. And sometimes though, I remember to turn ads on it beforehand. And I think that's what's going on with that. Is that's the day that I remember to turn ads on beforehand. So tell me about how that works. Does that mean like when it starts, I'm talking and then ads are happening, and so you come in after I've already... That's weird. You guys have to explain that. Because if that's what it's doing, then I'll wait till do it till afterwards. I don't know. And Brian says, you should do an intro loading screen instead of going directly live. I know I should. I just always forget. And then I don't know like what song am I going to put on there. I don't know. I think I got to do that song that's like... Maybe I'll just have me singing it. That'll avoid a copyright strike, maybe. And Mark says, yeah, a lot of you guys are getting the ads first because I've remembered to turn ads on this time. It says it starts before I even see you. But then when you see me, was the ad running when I started? Or did you get the ad before you got to the like waiting area? I don't know. Daniel says it's the girl from Ipanema. Is that what it is? Yeah. Yeah. Andrew says, for me, as soon as the live stream starts, I see a skippable commercial and then you come on mid-sentence. Okay. So maybe I'll do a loading screen. So that way the ad will come on during the loading screen. And then also you'll get the correct, yo, what's going on? But here's the thing. Then I'm going to have to delete all that for when I do the audio only version. That requires more work. All right, I got to figure this out. Stephen C says co-humming the song would be perfect. Could be a guess the song competition too. Oh, okay. I'll just hum a different song every time, and you guys can guess. Do you think I would get a copyright strike for that? I'll just hum really really old songs that are hopefully off copyright. Maybe I'll do that. All right. Danny says, "Co, have you tried the Hoka Speed Goat?" I have tried the Hoka Speed Goat 4, 5. I did. I think I did the 4 Evo, 5, and 6. I forgot that I had tried the 6. Um, but I have tried the 6. So I've tried the last 3.5 versions, I guess, or 3 plus versions. It's a great shoe. I feel like I don't know. I don't like the way the styling is going on the Speed Goat. It looks too much like a Challenger ATR, you know. All right. Let me see who. Let me scroll back up to the top. Sean Devlin's here. He says, "Hey, Kabuzi Run Club, still keeping busy on the Peloton. Got another terrifying shockwave treat meet tomorrow. Oh boy, I've heard that those are. I heard who was I listening to explain that? Ollie Hoare on Coffee Club podcast was explaining it, and it sounds miserable. Good luck. Hopefully, it's helping, Sean. Oh boy." Vanessa's got 2 weeks until her half marathon. Oh boy, good luck. I have 2 weeks until that was my call this morning. I am, excuse me. I'm going to Morocco. I guess less than 2 weeks at this point, like 12 days. So a call was about some logistics for that trip. But something that I've been thinking about is, so when I was in Miami, we did the 5K. And I ended up running, and it was hot for me. I'm not a hot weather runner, but it was like 70 degrees at the start, sunny and humid, and a headwind. All the bad things. So not hot, very pleasant, but hot for trying to run fast. And I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, guys, but I've been congested for like, I think my daughter gave it to me. And I ended up running a 20:35, which, I really wanted to run like a minute faster than that, more than a minute faster than that. And it's disappointing because I think the first 3 5K splits from my half marathon were all each faster than my race time from the 5K in Miami. And so I was just like, I just think I'm really bad at racing. So today I decided that I don't have any races on my calendar for a long time. I mean, I'm doing a trail marathon with a buddy of mine. That'll be more of a fun run, just running through the woods for a little while. But that's in May. But I don't have any other races on the calendar yet. I think I'm going to Sydney. I have to have some follow-up phone calls about that. But that's not until August, end of August, right? Something like that. So I think for now, I think I'm going to just do a bunch of 5Ks. And there is a park run that's an hour from my house. And it's relatively flat and on pavement. So I think I might start doing it, but I want to do it this weekend, but I'm like, I'm still not that far out from my half marathon. My legs definitely felt a little bit gummy from the half marathon race 2 weeks prior. So I guess I'm 3 weeks out. And then the following week I'm going to Morocco. But then after that, I think I'm going to start doing some park runs. I'll let you guys know which one it is in case any of you guys want to come and run it too. But I just think I need to get better about racing. I don't know why I can't race well. And part of it is I think I'm just getting old as well. So I need to adjust my expectations. But I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm running good workouts. So I don't know. Alf says, bang out some park runs. Go. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do some park runs. Steven C says, my local park run is about a mile from my house. That's super convenient. See, so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'll go warm up for the park run the park run, and then do a long run afterwards. Maybe at the same place, but so that'll just be my Saturday long run. We'll just have a park run in it as many times as it's feasible for my schedule. I don't know. Alex says I need to do more donut miles. Maybe donut mile afterwards, park run first, donut mile second. And either way, I just think I need to be near a red line more often. And I also need more experience running different distances. I don't know. Yeah. Daniel Burton wants to know, are you doing the Carlsbad 5000 this year, the first weekend in April? No, I can't do it this. I always have a calendar conflict. Let me look at the calendar again real quick on that one. But I just agreed to go on a trip. I won't tell you about where it is yet. But I just signed up for a running trip. Should be pretty cool that week. It'll be out of the country, which San Diego is pretty far from here. It's about as close out of the country as you can get, because it's also literally close to the border, but it's also very far. So it's like an international trip. But yeah. So I really want to run that Carlsbad 5000. Al says a parkrun sandwich co sounds good. Yeah, maybe. And Johnny says regular parkrun should coincide with the Takumi Sen 11 release. Good test. Oh, nice. That would be a really good test. Nice. Sean says, I feel like when you're in marathon shape, 5K is tough and vice versa. Yeah, I think the thing that I'm really like very concerned about though is like for the half marathon, I felt like, mentally I felt like I was in a good place. I was able to like I don't feel like I like surrendered like I normally do, although I did a little bit, I guess. But for this 5K, I definitely like had a hard time with it. But I think mentally I was there. So I'm like, why am I not? I feel like my mental prep is there, my fitness is there. So why isn't the time there? So I'm like, is it just a matter of practice? Is it a matter of being familiar with that kind of feeling? So I just have a lot of things that are going on in my mind. So, yeah. So I think just doing some more parkers, and one, I think will be fun. And two, I think will help me out with that. I was either way, I was also thinking that like I would just do whatever flat 5Ks I can find and, just pay 30, 50, 40, 50 bucks every week. But if I could do a park run, that's even better, James Johnson says, hey, Kavuzi, do you mix in high intensity interval runs in your training? Yes. So like when I write my own plans, I tend to write 9-day cycles. And then every third day will be some sort of speed work. The third day will usually be a long run with some marathon effort miles mixed in it. The other speed sessions will, if I can pick myself, I'll usually do threshold work. Very rarely will I do VO2 max work. Maybe like at the end of a marathon training block. But I just like to do a lot of threshold work and other speedy-ish work in that range, like threshold, half marathon pace. So that's usually what I do. D-Swiss says, have you done Beta Breakers in San Francisco? It's a 12K or 15K party. I've heard good things about it, but I've never done it myself. I think it would be very fun to do. And Tracy said the New Year's resolution was to do more park runs. Then weather happened. I know, but weather should be getting better soon, right? So hopefully that's less of an issue. Matt Legrand's here. What's going on, Matt? How are you? I was thinking about you today, Matt, because I decided that like I've had all these watches for a while, and it's time for me to finally make a review about them. I'm like, all right, I have no more excuses. So today I ran with two watches. I ran with the new Cinto. I don't even know which one it is. I forget. It's very pretty. It's still very dim, but I was like, I need to figure out how do I film this like Matt would film this. Not that I'm trying to directly copy, but I'm like, I was trying to think of like, all right, how does he approach B-roll? And I was like, because then then I can think about how I want to approach B-roll. And then I can actually shoot the B-roll. because in the wintertime so far, I've just been running with my sleeve covering by my watches. And that's not going to be super interesting. So I was thinking about, like, what would Matt do? Hope you're doing okay, Matt. Adam says, Steve Magnus has a new book out and a few YouTube videos about the mental game. I watched his most recent one, and it was more, that one was about like yips, you know, and I don't quite have that. Maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I do have that. I don't know. But he was talking about like Rick Ankiel, the pitcher. No, yeah, the pitcher. Chuck Knobloch. Happens in baseball a lot of times. Simone Biles. People that know their sport and have been high performing, and then all of a sudden can't perform. So maybe that's what's going on. I don't know, some version of that with me, but I don't know. I've just been struggling with racing. Well, so we'll see. Alex Gonzalez says, and then let's do this one, and then we'll get to some boxes. Alex says, would you consider an anaerobic workout cheating if you do your sprints at a slight incline and your rest going? Oh, do your sprints at a slight incline and your rest going back up on the incline? Would it be better just do this sprints both ways? I think that you would do it to make it specific to what you're trying to get out of it. So, like, if you're doing a sprint at an incline, rest going back up on the incline. So, well, if you're going up the incline, then your rest would be on the down. I think that's what you're saying, right? I don't think your rest need to be going back up. I'm not sure what you're saying, but if I were to do sprints, let's say I'm doing strides on an incline, the goal with that would be to get more intense training without having to actually run fast. And so you're kind of getting more bang for your buck in terms of stimulus without having to actually run as fast as you can possibly go. The benefit of that is that there's less injury risk, right? And so that's one reason you would want to put in incline in your sprints, or because you're trying to build up strength. Maybe you're doing a hilly road race and you want your body to be able to be acclimated and get good at running uphill. If you, on the other hand, wanted to do your sprints going downhill, and remember, I'm not a coach. This is just stuff that I picked up. Consult a coach if you actually want to get better advice. But my understanding is if you're going to be doing sprints on a downhill, there would be two reasons for that. One is if you have a race that's going to have a lot of downhill and you want to simulate that experience, that would be a reason to do it. And then I would just jog back the uphill and then sprint back down again. The other reason to do it would be to do overspeed practice. If you're trying to work on your top end speed, running downhill helps your body understand what it feels like to be running faster than you normally could. And so you're like training your muscles, giving yourself muscle memory. So those are my understandings of why you would pick uphill or downhill for your sprints. You could do them both ways, I guess, if you wanted. Just like, I guess, like run your uphill sprint, wait for however long, and then run a downhill sprint. You could do both too if you wanted, I guess. But I would pick the incline or the decline for the work portion, depending on what you're trying to get out of the session. Did I totally botch that? Does anyone? No one's in the chat yelling at me, are they? Yeah. Adam says, Frank Shorter said that hills are speed in disguise. For sure. For sure. Okay. Cheryl says, maybe it's that you're fatigued from all the racing, mentally and physically. I mean, maybe it's possible, I guess, but I don't feel like I've raced that much. I raced Houston. My only race before that was Berlin, right? So I don't think I raced that much. Did I race any other times other than that? I don't think I did. So. Brian says, Kaposi, how do you run an hour ago, shower, and get ready in time for the live stream? What's your secret? The secret is I don't shower or get ready. So I ran an hour ago. I only did 2 and like a quarter miles. Drove home. Made a quick lunch for me and my wife. Ate it until my alarm went off for a live stream. And then I came down here, and that's why I was a little bit late. Because I still had some food left to eat. But that's the secret. For me, is just don't shower a lot. I joke with my wife a lot, half joke, that because I'm Asian, I don't smell, and it's okay for me to not shower after stuff. Sometimes I'm wet, but I'm not going to be super stinky. And she has pointed out to me that that is not true all the time. But in the winter, I'm not sweating a lot, so I can do that. And I wasn't wet. That's some that if I come back and if I've sweat a bunch and I'm soaking wet, then I need to change. I need more time. And Frank says, you can't smell over the internet. That's true. That's why this works. That's why this relationship, guys. That's why it's working out. And Jim's Long Road says, when's the last time you had blood work? Low iron? I had blood work done when I was working with Sage and Sandy. My iron was low. My vitamin D was low. Vitamin B was low. Not since then, but since Berlin, I have been taking supplements for each of those things somewhat regular. I just finished a bottle of vitamin B pills. There were 60 of them in there, so I'm not great about it. I don't really like to take vitamins because anecdotally, when I take a multivitamin, it makes my vertigo worse or flare up. But I'd like to get some blood work done again, just to see where I'm at after somewhat regular iron, vitamin B, and vitamin D supplementation. All right, let's get to the first box. And hopefully none of this is under embargo. Let's see. All right, let's get to this one. James Johnson says, why vertigo from vitamins? It's a great question. I don't have an answer for that. I used to have debilitating vertigo. I thought I was having a stroke or a heart attack, and I had to go to the hospital one time. And yeah. I thought maybe I was unhealthy and imbalanced, and so I started taking vitamins, and that made it worse. And then since then, when my symptoms have been more under control, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm missing some vitamins. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not a very thoughtful eater, so I'm probably missing stuff. So I start taking multivitamin again. Like 2-3 days later, some of the symptoms would come back. So I just kind of avoid them generally. But so far, with the supplementation I've been doing, I haven't run into a problem. Oh, I can show this to you guys. This is from Puma. I think you guys have seen these. Okay. Your fastest year yet, says Kofuzi. Hope you're having a great 2025. Here's a little something for the speedy days. We hope you enjoy. Ooh, this is nice. A racing singlet. This material is very thin. It's got some tiny like laser cut holes in it. On the back, there's some writing in here. The Great PR Club, the Great Cat Family, and then I think the coordinates for Herzogenaurach. I think I said that right. That's cool. I'd say this is probably the first Puma singlet that I'd actually really like. A lot of times I don't feel like they've had good racing singlets, not available to the public anyway. I know their pros have great stuff, so I'm very excited to have this. And then let's see what's in the box. This is another pair of DD8 Nitro Elite 3. Just did the 100-mile review on my pair, which was the Olympic colorway. This is the latest colorway. I think must be the spring or winter colorway for this one. I've seen a lot of people get this one. This one looks so much bigger than the one that I ran it. Like in the forefoot, it just looks like there's so much more stack height here. But really nice, really pretty. We'll get this one measured too, because I want to say I have 2 other pairs of the Nitro. Do I have one other? I don't know, I think I want, but I think that one that I have is way lighter than the regular version. We'll weigh this one, maybe not this episode, but next time to see if it's heavier. I suspect it's going to be a little bit heavier. It's a shoe you can't find or buy anywhere. Have you been looking for it? Not even the latest one? I feel like the latest one we should be able to find. Let me look it up. I know it's hard to get into. It's not in a lot of running retail. I feel like a lot of running retail has been like skeptical on Puma, and so like they didn't order a bunch of it last year when it was time to order it, and now it's like, I don't know, they still didn't order more. Okay, man, my screen is freaking out. I don't know what's going on here. Something's happening. I can't like look at this website. Okay, oh, hey, where'd it go? Hold on. Okay, I see it. I see the colorway. Oh yeah, a lot of sizes are sold out already. Oh boy. Oh, it is hard to get. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. James Johnson says, where do you see the trend in the near future run training shoes like Nova Blast 5 and Clifton 9s? I think the Clifton 9 is going to become more and more of a run walk shoe. I think they're going to move it to be more of a direct ghost competitor. That's my thought on that one. I haven't, that's not from conversation, but I think the way that they're going to well, if I were Hoka, that's how I would distinguish the Clifton and the Mach. I would make the Mach be more modern, squishy, a little bit unstable, fun and nimble, and the Clifton be more stable, wider, more predictable in terms of the response every step. In a similar way that with the Nova Blast, you've got Nova Blast and Cumulus. The Nova Blast one is a little bit more fun, squishy, bouncy. And then the Cumulus is a direct Brooks Ghost competitor. Made for run walk, a lot of standing, removable insole. I think the Cumulus has a removable insole, but the Brooks Ghost certainly does. So you could put an orthopedic insert in there. Yeah. So I think that's the direction a lot of brands are pushing hard. They're very clearly making the distinction between those two. That's where I think it's going. That's where I would take things if I were in charge. I mean, I'm glad I'm not in charge, but that's where I would take it. Sean says, Clifton is a Toyota Camry of running shoes. I'd say yeah, probably. So then what's like the Pegasus? Like a Civic? You know? Maybe. We've taken, yeah. I don't know where we put those. Brian has a good question. Any creatine takers? Just started taking it 2 weeks ago, been noticing recovery gains. Oh, that's interesting. You know what's funny is I'm old enough to have been I was in college the first time creatine became really big. Or maybe it was even big before then, but the first time I heard about it was like in college, like turn of the century. And then it went away and I was like, oh, that's good. I'm kind of annoyed if it's coming back. I really, like, from a dogmatic perspective, the thing that I'm rooting for is that, like, all these supplements are great if you really, really want them, but most people are going to be fine with just eating and sleeping well with well-structured exercise. Like, I don't want to be taking a bunch of creatine. I mean, I guess if you could put it in with BCAAs and a recovery drink, maybe powder, I would like that, maybe. But it just seems like a lot. I'm getting overwhelmed with nutrition, I gotta tell you. I was having a conversation with people in Miami about, like, I don't know. I know so many people have had success with extremely high, what I consider extremely high carb loading using, like, Megan Featherston's formulas and calculators and all that stuff. But I find it overwhelming and I find it to be too much food. And I'm like, I kind of wish that the pendulum would swing and people were just like, extra big dinner is great, extra big lunch even better, like just to give your body more time to process it all. I kind of want things to be like that. Again, I think I'm just getting overwhelmed with a lot of nutrition stuff. And Brian says, though, like, I did gain 5 pounds of water weight from the creatine. Oh, I remember that being a side effect. Gino DG says, we just need to eat truck burritos, FTW. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super uninterested with FlowTrack's upcoming content. I was on the fence about how I feel about FlowTrack. Number one, I love Johnny Pace. Johnny Pace just got hired for FlowTrack. I watch stuff that Johnny Pace does, I guess, sometimes. But some of this other stuff that they're putting out, super not interested, and it just is a red flag to me. I don't know. Tracy says, have you seen David Roche's new video series talking about overwhelming nutrition? Yeah, I have seen some of it. A lot of it feels overwhelming. And I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, I watch them, but I'm not excited to watch them. And it seems like the exact kind of thing that I would love. So I'm not sure why I'm not loving it. Maybe I just need to give it another chance. Brian says, how's the food in Miami? I missed the Cuban food down there. Food was great. I went down with Tracksmith. Sorry. It's just like all over my feet. And every time I do an event with Tracksmith, whenever there's meals, the meals are always very, very nice. They take forever. Any brand dinners always take forever. That's why I don't go to them if I'm actually racing, if it's a race weekend. It's very nice, but they just take too much time in a condensed time frame. But for this Miami trip, I hadn't have anywhere else to go. So it was great to be able to catch up with some friends. Lots of friends were there. Ashley was there, Drew, Tommy, and some other people that I've met through a variety of other places. Mostly journalists, like regular journalists. So it was nice to chat. And like when journalists get together, they complain about a lot of journalist stuff, just like when influencers get together too, I guess. But they have like a similar but very foreign set of problems to what, like, I guess new media has. And so that was fascinating. I enjoyed listening to their gossip, even though I didn't really understand the problems or the people. I didn't know the people, but it's just fun to hear people. Sometimes it's nice to hear people complain. And it's not stuff that I have to worry about, I was just like, I'm like, I could tell this is gossip and this is fun. And it's zero stakes for me because I don't know any of these people. So that was nice. But I had a lot of branzino while I was down there. I had some of the best Chilean sea bass I've ever tasted at a sushi restaurant. But it was cooked. It was really good. Restaurants in Miami are weird. At least the ones that we went to. I went to one of the nicest restaurants I think I've ever been to. It was inside a mall. But this mall wasn't like a regular. It looked like a mall, but it wasn't a mall. All the stores were like Ferragamo, jewelry stores that I never heard of, but that seemed to have zero product on display. So it's a super expensive jeweler. Yeah, so all this like super high-end boutique stuff. And it's like an outdoor mall. And I'm eating in a mall, but I'm having very fancy sushi. It was confusing. Miami's a strange place sometimes. But the food was really good. We had Greek food the first night. That was amazing. I've been at that restaurant. That was a restaurant I'd been to before. Which I'm not a guy that really goes out to eat. So for me to have been to a restaurant in another city twice is an amazing coincidence. And then we had Italian food another night, which was very good. Jim O'Connor says, even other marathoners talk about 100 to 105 grams of carbs per hour in training workouts. That, yeah. So there's two ways that carbs I think are overwhelming. One is in the requirements during activity, like during racing, and the one that I find more overwhelming is carb requirements, but the days before. That's kind of what I'm talking about. I just can't handle all that. I just don't want to walk around with a sleeve of bagels, you know? I don't know. It just feels like too much. I don't feel great. I need to figure it out better. I probably should just hire Featherston and have her help me out with it. All right, let's get to another box. All right, so far, no embargoes broken. That Puma one, there was a high probability, I felt like, on that one. And now this box. Oh, I just ordered this shoe. I just bought this shoe this morning. But Brooks has sent it to me, so I'm going to cancel that order. This is perfect. They must have seen my video. Or did I? No, I think I ordered. I did. Did I order this shoe twice? I think I bought these myself. But these are the Hyperion 2. I think I bought these myself. Because in the last Ghost Max 2 video, I talked about how I had all these Brooks shoes except for the Hyperion 2. So I was like, I just need to get it. It's very lightweight. Feels like it's hollow on the inside. Doesn't I really wish they could have kept the ice blue midsole for the Hyperion series. I love that blue. This orange just isn't doing it for me the same way, but this feels a lot more built up in this Achilles area than the Hyperion Tempos that I remember. It smells like a crayon. It smells very strange. But yeah, this looks like it's a lot of fun. So Hyperion 2. Yeah, Frank, are we going to add them to the spreadsheet? Yeah, I'm going to open them all first. If we have time to add them to the spreadsheet, we'll add them to the spreadsheet. But I have a feeling I'm going to get chatty. We're already at 37 minutes. I don't think we're going to have time. Maybe we'll do it on Thursday, And Martha says, Code, did you get the Hyperion Max 2? It's my favorite all-around shoe at the moment, and V3 is reputedly better. So I do have the Hyperion Max 2. I've done workouts in it. I made a reel about it. And then I never reviewed it. I don't know why I never reviewed it. I think I just forgot. And so at this point, I'm like, do I review it with the 3 coming out at some point soon? I saw it. They didn't really talk to me much about it. They talked to me about it a little bit at TRE. I briefly saw it. It's going to get some DNA gold in there. DNA gold. So it's exciting. My big thing for the Hyperion Max 2 was that I just didn't feel like it was max enough. Like the Ghost, at least Ghost Max 1, felt like such a departure from the Ghost. Glycerin Max is an incredible departure from the Glycerin. The Hyperion Max just feels like, we added a little bit more stack height. You know what I mean? So I was like, I need... So that's one thing I do want to test with this Hyperion 2 is like, is there a big delta between the two? Because if it's just like how I remember the regular Hyperion tempo, I don't think that there's a very big delta. So we'll see what happens with Hyperion 2 or Hyperion 3, and then Hyperion Max 3, what happens. So that's something that I'm keeping an eye out for. And Martha says, I think the 3 comes out this summer around when the LA5 does. Okay, so maybe there's still time. Maybe I still will review the Hyperion Max 2. Brian says, why did they add glycerin in the Glycerin Max? Is it the midsole? They feel nothing alike. I think the idea was just that, I guess I should probably ask. Like, I think they could have gone 2 ways. They could have called it Aurora BL2, or they could have called it something completely new. I guess that's three ways. Or they could have called it Glycerin Max. And I think the way I kind of see it is they called it Glycerin Max because it's a max cushion. It's a recovery run shoe, max cushion shoe in this new like alternate series. So I feel like the Max series shoes are like the regular Brooks shoes are for the people that have been running in Brooks, right? The people that love the Ghost and never want it to change. The Ghost is the daily trainer for you. The Glycerin is the max cushion shoe for you. But there's a lot of people that don't like that, like me. And so let's make a daily trainer for that customer that we're not reaching. And we'll call it the Ghost Max. Not because it's exactly like a Ghost just with more cushion, but because it's the Ghost, our daily trainer, but alternate. I think of it as Ghost and anti-Ghost. And then you got Glycerin and anti-Glycerin. Or Bizarro Glycerin, you know? So it's like same role. So if you understand what the role of the Glycerin is, you understand what the role of the Glycerin Max is. And the Max just tells you, this is for runners who haven't really liked Brooks before, and the regular Glycerin is for the runner who has. That's kind of how I see the Max versus the regular ones. James Johnson says, what's your opinion of the running shoe development process? It seems like every new drop is an experiment. Runners love it or they hate it. I mean, I'm not sure I really understand the question, or maybe I just don't know how to answer it. I love experimentation. And I think that most brands go through a period of let's make a bunch of new kinds of things, see what the public resonates with, and then we'll contract as we figure out which SKUs are not moving. And then that's kind of like an expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jim says, the Glycerin Max isn't a good recovery shoe for me at all. Jim, do you like the regular Glycerin? I have a feeling that my theory is that like the people who love the Max shoes are the people that didn't love the regular shoes. And the people that love the regular shoes generally won't find the Max shoes to be all that desirable. Now, I've talked to some Brooks diehards that do like pick from both sides. But I have a feeling that most people will pick one side or the other. Yeah. Councilman Michael says, there's a lot of hot takes in today in the chat. Maybe I'm tired because I'm feeling a little bit run down immune system wise. I don't know. But he said there's a lot of hot takes in the chat. So maybe in the chat, maybe it's a Monday, guys. You know, it's a time for takes. All right, now this one. This is the one that might be under embargo. I do not know what this one is. There's no note in here. Yeah, I don't know if there's an embargo in this one. I'm not going to show it to you guys. Ooh. Yeah, I have to check on this one. This one I'm pretty sure is under embargo, so I cannot show this to you guys. Sorry, guys. My bad. When I can show it to you guys, I think you guys will like it. There's some interesting things going on there. Yeah. Right. And then this last one, I don't know. I don't know who the sender is. I'll figure it out once I open this box, but off the top of my head, I'm not remembering who. I think this is a Solomon shoe. Ah, yes. I am fairly certain that this one is off embargo. Oh, they sent like a little booklet, like a little mini magazine, a little S-Lab magazine. These are cool images. It's nice. Okay, let's get to the shoe. I'm pretty sure I can show this to you. You know what? I got an email about it recently. Let me just double check. What is it called? Okay. They're already out. Okay. These are out. So the embargo's over. So I can show you these. These are from Solomon. S-Lab shoe. These are the new S-Lab Ultra Glide. It looks like it says Miko Co, but I think that's just the E that looks funny. Will they put some socks in here? Well, that's very thoughtful. I think I'm going to bring these to Africa. On the call, we're going to be running on some dunes. We're going to be running on some beach. There's a hilly day. That's where I think these are going to come in. Look at these. There is a lot of stuff going on here. So this shoe. So the crazy thing about this shoe, I'm sure you guys have seen it already, but there's really 3 parts to this midsole. So you've got like the Energy Foam Plus. See that white part in the bottom? That's kind of like a little, it's like a mega insole, right? And so it's the size of your foot, and it's pretty thick, like a drop-in insole. And then these guide rails on the side, there's 2 parts of it, and they kind of fit together, interlocking underneath the insole. So it's kind of like this. It makes a little bed, coffin, if you will, for the insert to lay down inside. And then this outsole has all these like indentations in it because they did some sort of pressure mapping of people's feet and figured out where they can remove material or change the material to make it more comfortable. So it sounds awesome, but where was the one shoe? The S-Lab? No, it wasn't S-Lab. The Solomon, not the Phantasm. Solomon Predict. Do you guys remember that shoe? There was so much like science and pressure mapping and stuff that went into that. And then when I ran in it, I'm like, this just feels stiff. Feels like a block. So I'm hoping that's not what's going on here. But yeah, I'm going to have to take this out for a run this week. Get into some trails. Oh, maybe I should. If everything's wet and soggy right now, maybe I should take it out for a run now. X says it's 10.x ounces at least, but it's an interesting sphere pressure outsole. And Brian says, yes, let's use data and take the average of everyone's foot to design a shoe for nobody. Hopefully that's not what's going on. And Fitness 2 says it's the worst looking shoe so far this year. I think from the top, when you see it, when you're wearing it on foot, I think it's going to look awesome. These giant side rails give me a little bit of concern. But given that I just recently ran in the Genesis, not the S-Lab Genesis, the regular Genesis, and then on a day on the trails, and it has high sidewalls too, and I kind of didn't mind them. I think these are going to work out fine. And I think in terrain where your ankles are all over the place, I think it could be useful. The material is nice and stretchy up front. It has a new kind of lace garage, which maybe I'll actually like this lace garage. So, I mean, it could be very, like the outsole looks super goofy, and I'm not a huge fan of it. It's too close to zig in my mind, so I don't love that. But I think the silhouette of the shoe is nice. And hopefully this fits a little bit more forgiving than some of the other S-Lab shoes I've tried, at least by the toes. Kind of has a soapy smell to it. Light plastic. Kind of like a raincoat or rubber. Not quite as strong as like rubber gloves. But there's like a high-end note to it. But yeah, this one's interesting. Brian says this shoe looks like something Paul Atreides would wear with his still suit. Brian Lacanalao says, "Is the Toyota Tacoma running shoes look rugged?" D-Swift calls it the Solomon steel toe. I mean, there is some TPU on the outside over here, but it's not a steel toe for sure. But this is pretty stiff. This is not bending. I don't normally like to try to bend the Charmin, but you know. And AJ said the cheap Genesis bothered my Achilles. The S-Lab was fine. Oh, interesting. Martha says it smells like cilantro tastes to some people. I think that's a really great way to put it. It doesn't smell like cilantro, but it smells like cilantro tastes to some people. Soapy, lightly soapy. Ryan Colleran says, really enjoyed the Run a Half Marathon series. Would you use the app again if it wasn't sponsored, considering using for Chicago in the fall? I think for now, like the way Run works is like you pick a race and then it then creates all the training for you. I think I could give it like off season and it'll just give me some general running to do. But right now I'd like to tinker for a little bit. But like I'm also trying to run some 5Ks. I don't know if you heard at the top of the hour, Ryan. And I don't really know how to train for a 5K. So I might just give it like a 5K date. Maybe I'll sign up for a 5K and let it train me for a little while just because I don't know what 5K workouts to do. But I've been self-coached for a really long time and I kind of like it. I may work with Run It again. They were great partners to work with, but it's like, I see what you're trying to ask, Ryan. It's like, would you run in it? Would you use the product if it wasn't provided to you? It's not like that's not a question that makes sense for me. I don't know if that answer makes sense for you. It's like people ask me all the time, all right, but what is your actual running shoe rotation? And I don't have an actual running shoe rotation. My running shoe rotation is the shoes that you see me test. I'm one person, and there's more things for me to test than there is product. There's more things for me to test than I have miles that I can do in a year. And so, like, I kind of have to be more focused in the way that I use things. And so, like, for this park run series that I'm thinking about doing, I don't know that I'll bother getting a sponsor for it, but I might try tinkering around with some things that I have been curious about since I've been coached now for like the last year. Before I was with Run, I was with Sage and Sandy. And so there are some learnings that I'd like to kind of explore. And I don't really want to do that with a coach. I don't love being coached. The app is nice because then you're not being coached by like a person and I can just tell the app like, I don't want to do this. So I don't know if that answers your question or not. The question that I wanted to answer using Runna was, can this get me fit, even an experienced runner? Not that I'm super fast, but I've done a lot of my own training plans. I've done other people's training plans. Is this running app something that can get me fit enough for a PR attempt? And it definitely did. But would I use it on my own if I wasn't getting paid for it? If I wasn't getting sponsored for it, I would go back to do the thing that I personally prefer, which is to be coached by nobody. Does that make sense? Using it though is nice because I'm not so prideful that I'm like, I only want a PB if I wrote the plan. So if I'm looking for a 5K PB, I have so much travel. I think I've been going to 3 different continents, or I guess one continent twice in the next 2 months. So I think I have a trip like every 2 weeks from here till May. So doing a training plan right now makes very little sense for me. I'm just kind of getting whatever running I can. So that's the most direct answer I can give you, even though it sounds very wishy-washy. I mean, I think the other thing I could say is I'm considering using it for my Sydney Marathon build. Or or depending how I run Sydney, I might alternatively use it if I can't, Valencia is already full. But if I end up doing a December marathon, I would consider using it for a December marathon. But as long as I was going to use it, I would probably also look to partner up with them. Does that make sense? Because why would I do it for them for free? I wouldn't do a paid thing with a brand I don't like. Does that make sense too? I don't know. Maybe I'm not making sense. Dan John says, I don't like being coached either. I often don't even agree with myself. Yeah. And Eric says, getting a coach is interesting. You do see some gains, confirmation, alternate workouts that you haven't done before, but in the end, you can do it yourself, most of it. Yeah, I just like to tinker. One, I like to tinker. And two, at the top of the hour, we talked about how I have all this difficulty with races. Having someone that's coaching you, to me, adds a lot of pressure to it. Like, I want to show up well for the person that coached me. Or I guess in this instance, the algorithm that coached me, So, like, not having a coach is also very liberating in another way, too. And I mean, a lot of people do really well with it. Like, I feel like, I spent the whole weekend with Tommy Runs. And, like, for him, I feel like a lot of his gains came because, one, he's very athletic. He's very naturally talented at this. But he decided to get a coach, like, right away. And I feel like, had he not, he could have gone through a gauntlet, especially these days, in terms of all the information that's out there, of things that may not have been as immediately helpful to him, So it's like, there are many instances in which I want to be completely guided, like I'm going to Africa. My entire itinerary is controlled by somewhere else, and I absolutely love that. But there's other times where I like to be in charge of the itinerary, even if that means I'm lost a lot of the way. So that's kind of just my take on it. All right. I think that's a good time to leave it there, guys. We will... well, let's put these shoes on the scale. But we'll do that next time. Because I got to get going. I'm going to hop on another call. But I will see you guys again Thursday. I got another video coming out tomorrow. Topo Cyclone 3 review. And then I'll see you guys on Thursday. All right. So I see you guys again. Be safe out there, everybody.